we think about those voices that have made this difference, that have really brought truth to the science, brought truth to the medicine, I can't think of a greater voice than Dr. Peter McCullough. And I have breaking news right now. He sent over a letter that he just received from the American Board of Internal Medicine. And it reads as follows: Dear Dr. McCullough, diplomats of the American Board of Internal Medicine are a community of physicians who commit to be guided by evidence-based medicine. ABIM grants certification based on the judgment of expert peers who are familiar with the literature and medical practice. Our community holds us accountable for ensuring our standards are met. You are currently certified by ABIM. ABIM has learned that you have made numerous widely reported and disseminated public statements about the purported dangers of or lack of justification for COVID vaccines. And let me just jump to the point of this letter. While ABIM recognized the importance of legitimate scientific debate, physicians have an ethical and professional responsibility to provide information that is factual, scientifically grounded, and consensus-driven. Providing false or inaccurate information to patients or the public is unprofessional and unethical and violates the trust that the profession of medicine and the public have in ABIM board certification. Therefore, such conduct constitutes grounds for disciplinary sanctions. Obviously, this is a letter warning Dr. Peter McCullough that he is now under some sort of investigation. I'm joined right now by Dr. McCullough. Obviously, these aren't the best of circumstances to be talking to you, but I won't say that I'm surprised. We live in a world of censorship. We've all been censored online, social media platforms, and we have seen other doctors that are being investigated for speaking their truth. And, you know, you've obviously come on the show and brought a lot of truth. So what's going through your mind? Tell me about, you know, what this is about today for you.
No, I'm board certified by the American Board of Internal Medicine continuously since 1991, both as an internist and then later on as a cardiologist. I've poured thousands of dollars into that organization in countless years of my life, as well as endless testing. I have met every standard of that organization to claim board certification by contract. I'm an established expert in my field. I'm the most widely published person on heart-kidney interactions in the world in history, and I've been relied upon by American medicine and medicine worldwide for my scientific inferences. Now, in the last 2 years in COVID-19, I have provided scholarship. I have 56 peer-reviewed publications in the literature in the author block, worked with collaborative groups, brought the world early treatment protocols, and I've been a careful analysis physician, really a careful news commentator on vaccine safety and efficacy. I was shocked to receive this letter. I have responded in a response document that's nearly 24 pages long. Every statement that I've made is carefully cited and sourced with the data, just like you do on the HighWire. And now Senator Johnson has put out a public call for an open discussion with the American Board of Internal Medicine.
I've got that letter right here. This is from Senator Johnson's office. This is awesome. Dear Dr. Baron, I'm in receipt of your letter to Dr. Peter McCullough dated May 26, 2022, in which the American Board of Internal Medicine provided notice that the ABIM's Credentials and Certification Committee will hold a meeting to determine whether to recommend any disciplinary sanction against Dr. Peter McCullough. In your letter, you cite a number of evidence-based public opinions Dr. Peter McCullough made regarding COVID-19, natural and herd immunity, asymptomatic spread, and COVID-19 vaccination policy. As you are aware, Dr. McCullough provided testimony before the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs on November 19, 2020, and again on January 24, 2022, during a roundtable event I held in Washington, D.C., titled COVID-19, A Second Opinion. He goes on to talk about how important it is to have a debate, and now he is demanding that a debate happen between you and this board. It is well past time for the public to hear from many sides regarding COVID-19 in a public forum. The purpose of this letter is to invite you, members of your Credentials and Certification Committee, and any other medical expert of your choosing to come to Washington and engage in an open and honest interchange regarding all aspects of COVID-19 without the threat of reprisal by the ABIM or any other organization. First of all, I just want, to have Senator Johnson stepping up like this is so important. Hopefully many more senators will sign on to this demand. It is well past time. I could not agree more. This debate needs to happen. They have gone on. And when I think about this, there are things like, for instance, one of the statements you made that, that natural immunity is long lasting. We all saw that be affected by Omicron a little bit. I remember even you reached out to Joe Rogan and said through Dr. Malone, please let him know that the science has now shifted on that. We have a new variant. What you were saying was true up to that point, but as all scientists know, the science changes and you immediately change that perspective. On the other hand, I could point to their statements about the vaccine being 95% effective, how it was going to end this pandemic, none of which ended up being true. We're dropping below 50% efficacy. We're having negative efficacy around the world, all sorts of issues, yet they are not being held accountable. When you think about this double standard, what is it that needs to take place so that we can get back to being honest about how science should be taking place?
Well, Del, you and I know we have been on the record from the beginning, and none of these members of these various boards and organizations have been publicly on the record regarding the presumption of vaccine safety and efficacy, right, and then the science regarding the pandemic. Now's the time to all come out. Let's get around a round table. Let's exchange information without threats, pressure, or threat of reprisal, and let's get the information out to America.
I think what we need to do is that because this is happening on the fly, you just reached out to us. I really think we all need to start reaching out to our senators, to our, congressional representatives. I think forward this letter, say, I support this. I want this debate, this type of witch hunting of good doctors that are simply sharing a different perspective in a world where even the CDC is admitting the science is gray, that it is not some black and white situation. We're trying to find our way through it. We can't have this happening. Everybody do your part. Reach out. Just say this letter is, from Senator Johnson. I want you to sign on to it. I want you to agree and demand that this debate take place. I know that you're seeing patients right now, and so you just took this moment. Any last words before you go running off about this situation?
Scientific discourse is critical to medical advancement. This is far more than just my case or other doctors in my circles. This is about the advancement of science. If we do not cut out censorship, if we do not nip this in the bud, Del, we're in trouble.
I agree. It is really, really scary to think that you can have captured organizations, captured regulatory agencies that are pushing one narrative that seems to benefit, the side of the industry versus, shutting down any commentary from professionals that are siding with citizens and the issues that they're seeing out there. Dr. Peter McCullough, we are going to stand behind you on this. If you need support legally or any other thing from us, the Informed Consent Action Network, which is the nonprofit that makes this show possible, we stand behind you 100%, and we will make sure to get the word out there. And until then, and while all this is going on, our prayers are with you. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us and share this story with us. Thank you. All right. Senator Johnson wrote that brilliant letter to support Dr. McCullough, which is so important now that we see and by the way, support the politicians that are supporting our doctors. It is my honor and pleasure to be joined now by Senator Ron Johnson. Senator Johnson, first of all, I want to thank you for writing a letter, for supporting Dr. McCullough the way that you have. But when he reached out to you and you heard about this, what were your first thoughts?
Well, first of all, Del, it's great to be on your show, and thank you for everything you've been doing in terms of providing the truth to people regarding COVID and the vaccines. First of all, I was outraged. This little star chamber that the American Board of Internal Medicine is going to conduct against Dr. McCullough is just outrageous. I'm reading the letter providing Dr. McCullough notice of this star chamber, and they're listing all these statements that he's made that apparently they view as misinformation.
Yeah,
I'm looking for you to go up. I think that's the truth. I think that's the truth. I think that's the truth. It's interesting. They second page, they let him know that you may make a written submission for the CCC's consideration in connection with this matter. And then they go on to say, please be advised that failure to respond timely to this notice may be considered unprofessional and weighed against you. This literally is a star chamber. And so what I want to do is, in support of Dr. McCullough, is write a letter to Dr. Richard Baron, the CEO and president of this organization, and just let them know that I'm aware of it. The American public is now aware of this proceeding. And that what I've actually done is I've invited Dr. Baron and any people he'd like to bring with him, other medical professionals, to come to Washington, D.C. and engage in a dialogue with people like Dr. McCullough and Dr. Corey and Dr. Merrick and Dr. Cole and all the people you've had on your show, the people that I've had that's testified before my committee or participate in some of my events. You know, I did an event in November of 2021, again, the COVID-19 second opinion event in January 24th of 2022. I invited all the agency heads or a representative from those agencies, the CEOs of the drug companies. They would never show up.
Do they respond at all? Well, I mean, you know, we see you, you're a senator, you have some standing, you're having these hearings. I mean, does Fauci, Francis Collins, like, does anybody respond at all from the other side?
No, they don't even, you know, they don't send regrets or anything. I've written, I think I'm up to 38 oversight letters to the various health agencies, pretty well laying the groundwork that should I be here for another term, I'd be hopefully chairman of the permanent subcommittee investigation. I'm just laying the groundwork for investigations into all things COVID, all things vaccines, all things in terms of sabotage of early treatment. But no, I've written 38 oversight letters. I've basically gotten squat, whether it's the NIH, the CDC, the FDA, now the Departments of Defense on the DMED system. Listen, it's a deep state. The deep state does not give up its secrets very easily. By the way, we're down to, we did request, remember the 4,000 emails from Fauci that were FOIA'd? Yeah. We looked at those. We requested 400 of them. We focused on it, 400 unredacted. HHS has allowed us so far to read them in a reading room, 50 pages at a time. We've read 350 pages. We're down to the last 50. They will not give those last 50 pages up to us.
Oh, man.
There must be some pretty explosive information in those last 50 pages.
I can't wait to, I mean, obviously it's so much, it's hard work. We work with attorney Aaron Siri to FOIA these things. I know that you're acquainted with him also. It's hard to get through to the truth. When they start really pushing back, you know there must be something good there. You know, let me just ask you a question, and you may or may not know the answer to this, but when we look at medical boards like this, right? I mean, on one hand, I find as conservatives, you know, that are out there, we don't want to influence a business and tell them what to do or how to run their business. But when it comes to a medical board, there is some government interaction, right? I mean, because one of my things is, why don't we just start new medical boards? Why don't we just start a new medical board, like, you know, the medical board of real science, or, you know, of the, you know, the medical board of the scientific method? But these medical boards wield a lot of power and they use a lot of threats, and they are obviously, whether or not they believe what they're saying, they're coerced by a higher power. All the money from pharma that pours into these boards and affects these universities. You know, is there any space in the political system, in the government, to put pressure? If you had, let's say, a majority of senators that all thought this was the wrong thing to do, is there anything a government can do about a medical board?
I think just ask for transparency, and that's what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
If they have nothing to hide, don't hide it. Right. If you're proud of what you're going to be doing to a wonderful person, Dr. Peter McCullough, who is, let's face it, they're trying to destroy people like Dr. McCullough and Dr. Corey and the people that have had the courage and compassion first to treat COVID patients and then to speak out, to speak the truth. They are being, the COVID cartel is trying to destroy these individuals. At least they can do it in the light of day. And that's really my attempt here is, listen, if you're going to try and destroy him through the Star Chamber, through your American Board of Internal Medicine, do it out in the open. Let the public see exactly what you're going to do. You know, listen, both of us, we're accused all the time. They use the pejorative, spreading misinformation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I always ask, I'm sure you do, well, show me what I'm saying that isn't true.
Right.
Because I don't want to say things that are inaccurate. You know, if I'm wrong, I will correct it immediately, okay? I'll apologize for being wrong. So far, I have never been given any information that I've provided that has been untrue.
Well,
Pro-
because
prove me
everything
wrong.
we're doing is backed in data. Now, and one of the things I find problematic about this entire misinformation discussion, and where it's really wrong, even I get fact checked by fact checkers that will say, we found a study that goes against what Dell said. Well, what you found was a study that says something different than the study that I showed. And so there's, differing opinions on the science here, but there's scientific backing, mostly to my position, but every once in a while they'll put up a study. But just because you have a study doesn't mean that mine is misinformation if I'm showing science too. Dr. Peter McCullough is going to be able to point to science and evidence that backs up every point he's made. Has there been funded science done by pharma that has set out to have a different conclusion and a different result? Absolutely. But unless there is no existence of science anywhere for something you've said and you're just pulling it out of thin air, this concept of misinformation, we've got to eradicate that from our vernacular because it's being used in a very inappropriate way and it's getting to be dangerous. I mean, I feel like what we're seeing with Dr. Peter McCullough, as he said, this is dangerous. If we have doctors that are not allowed to actually treat the patient in front of them, are not allowed to use their background of understanding, all of the myriad of patients they've treated, all the different nuances they've experienced that lead them to a different decision on that patient, while a board that is being funded by a pharmaceutical industry trying to sell a singular product is going to override that, is going to mandate that the hospitals all have to do the same thing. This sort of homogenized, pasteurized, medicine will be the death of us. I mean, it is literally going to be the death of us. If we all have to take remdesivir, even if it doesn't prove to work for most people, simply because that's the appropriate science, and anything against it is misinformation. When you got involved in politics, did you ever imagine, I imagine you got involved because you knew there were problems in the world, but it just went on steroids the minute, you sort of stepped inside the Capitol there. Just lastly, what's it like to be, in some ways a lone voice in this incredible, insane time?
Well, first of all, the pandemic has exposed so many problems in our society, within our medical establishment. There is no perfect medical information. Every human being is different. Everybody reacts differently to different drugs. What drives me nuts is when I'm challenged by medical experts. Okay, show me the data.
Right.
The one that's driving me nuts right now is this sudden adult death syndrome.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I'm reading articles, written about that, and the doctors are baffled. The medical experts are baffled. What could possibly be causing the death of adults just dropping dead? What could it be? And I'm going, isn't it pretty obvious? You look at the VAERS report, we're up to 28,714 deaths on the VAERS system.
Right.
What did anything change in 2021? Did we do something different in medicine that just might be a possible reason for SADS? But again, the COVID cartel is completely oblivious to it. As I've been saying, they can't afford to be proven wrong. The body count is way too high. They sabotage early treatment. But they have the power to make it very difficult to prove them wrong. And that's really the situation we're in. It's why people like Dr. McCullough need to be supported. Why I wrote that letter. The public has to be made aware of these things. I think the truth has power, but the truth has to get out there. And that's all I'm trying to do. So I'm just trying to convey truth. That's what you're trying to do. That's what Peter McCullough's trying to do. In the end, I got to hope the truth can prevail.
Absolutely. Well, Senator Ron Johnson, as one of the few politicians that's actually working in Washington, D.C., and using taxpayer money appropriately to get something done, I don't want to steal any more of your time. I want to thank you for taking your time to join us today. I want to thank you for being so passionate on this topic and bringing together panels of scientists, what we've only been dreaming about coming together over the last years. I've been involved in trying to get more transparency in the science around medical procedures and products. Your work is outstanding. Your letter, we're going to put it up here, folks. Here's the letter one more time. It will be available to you if you're a member of our newsletter. Get your friends, just send it to your friends. Say, can you believe this is going on? Let's support this. Reach out, start talking to your elected officials and saying, we can't have these witch hunts. This is insane. This is a highly decorated doctor, one of the most published doctors in the world, especially on heart issues, and the most published doctor on the COVID pandemic. Senator Ron Johnson, thank you so much, and we'll continue to watch you. And if you need anything from us at any time, please let us know.
Thank you, and stay well. Again, my wish is I just hope these doctors show up. I hope the agency heads, I hope the CEOs of Pfizer and Moderna show up and have the dialogue, have a discussion. If you're so proud of what you've done, get into a dialogue with people like Dr. McCullough and Corey and Merrick.
Agreed. It's time for the debate. It's time. If you have a winning argument, bring it. Otherwise, shut up. All right. Thank you, Senator Ron Johnson. Have a great day. Be blessed. Well, I mean, these are incredible times where it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your success in treating patients. It's as though none of it seems to mean anything. All of the evidence, all the science Dr. McCullough cites. I mean, you've seen him on our show, the way he can recite so many different studies, and yet, you know, you wonder, does it even matter? I mean, and what is he up against? Just saying he's spreading misinformation, as I said before. How about the fact that you all said this vaccine was 95% effective? You promised us this vaccine was going to end this pandemic and eradicate the disease, and now you're telling us to live with it. You promised us we didn't need masks. Then you promised us we did need masks. Now you're saying maybe we don't need masks. I mean, this is all so crazy, it starts to make you feel like you're crazy.